Today, we're diving into something truly incredible. It's a new way of looking at one of the absolute toughest challenges in cancer research, and it might just change everything. Let's get into it. You see, when a cancer spreads or metastasizes to the brain, well, that's a really devastating moment. The brain is this unique, super complex environment, and for decades, treating tumors there has been unbelievably difficult. It's like a fortress. But somehow, cancer figured out a way to breach the walls. For so long, we've treated these brain tumors based on where the cancer originally came from. Lung, breast, or skin cancer. But a massive new study is suggesting that we might have been looking at this all wrong. What if the real secret isn't about the cancer's origin story, but about the new identity it takes on once it gets to the brain? To really get why this is such a game changer, we first have to understand just how big of a challenge we're talking about. This number is pretty staggering. Up to 30% of patients who have solid tumors will, at some point, develop brain metastases. And here's the tough part. As our treatments for those primary cancers get better and people live longer, this number is actually going up. It's making this problem more and more urgent every single day. Now, the central villain in this whole story is a concept called heterogeneity. What it means is that a brain tumor from one person's lung cancer might be biologically worlds apart from another person's. This incredible diversity has made finding a one-size-fits-all drug almost impossible. It's like trying to find the single key that can open a million totally different locks. So, faced with all this chaos, a team of researchers decided it was time to just draw a new map. A really detailed atlas of what's actually going on inside the brain when cancer takes root. The researchers themselves put it perfectly. They said the whole field was missing a core rulebook. They knew that the brain environment, what they call the neural niche, was changing the tumors, but they didn't have a good way to understand how those changes might create new weaknesses that they could attack. So they didn't mess around. They went big. They gathered data from over 1,032 individual brain metastases. This was no small sample size. This was a massive, comprehensive effort to see the whole picture. And they didn't just look at the DNA. No, they created what's called a multi-omic atlas. So they integrated the genomics, that's the DNA blueprint, with proteomics, which are the proteins actually doing all the work, and metabolomics, which is the fuel the cells are burning. It gives you this incredibly deep, layered picture of what these tumor cells are really up to. And this is where it gets really, really cool. When they put all of this data together, something just clicked. All that chaos started to organize itself into a clear underlying pattern. Through all that noise, all the differences between patients and tumor types, a signal started to punch through. It turned out these tumors weren't a million different things after all. They were actually converging into just a few types. And this is the breakthrough. This is the big aha moment. It didn't matter where the cancer came from, lung, breast, whatever. Once it got to the brain, it tended to fall into one of 4 fundamental survival strategies. They named them brain metastasis subtypes, or BMRS for short. So, let's meet these 4 new identities, because understanding them is the whole key to unlocking this new atlas. Okay, so first up, you've got BRMS1, which actually starts to act like brain cells themselves, the neural-like one. Then you have BRMS2, which is absolutely packed with immune cells. We call that immune-infiltrated. BRMS3 is all about a supercharged metabolism. And finally, BRMS4 is focused on just one thing, growing fast and aggressively. That's the proliferative subtype. And look, this isn't just some academic exercise. This classification has real life-or-death consequences. The data clearly shows that patients with that immune-packed BMS2 subtype had the best outcomes, while those with the fast-growing BMS4 had the worst. So your subtype is directly tied to your prognosis. And you can literally see this under the microscope. This image is from the BMS2, the immune-infiltrated subtype. See all those different colored dots? Each one is a different type of immune cell that has flooded into the tumor. This isn't just numbers on a chart, it's a visible biological reality. So now we have this new map with 4 very clear territories marked on it. But what good is a map if it doesn't lead you somewhere? How does this new atlas actually build a road to new treatments? Right. This is the most important question of all. How do we turn this amazing knowledge into action that saves lives. And boom, here it is, the payoff. Each one of these subtypes has a specific weakness. That neural-like one, BrMs1, it seems most sensitive to radiotherapy. The immune-infiltrated one, BrMs2, it's a perfect candidate for immunotherapy. The metabolic one, BrMs3, has a vulnerability to drugs called mTOR inhibitors. And that aggressive proliferative one, BrMs4, it can be hit with CDK4/6 inhibitors that slam the brakes on cell division. It's a personalized roadmap for treatment. And this isn't just a theory, folks. The researchers actually tested it. They grew these amazing mini tumors, or organoids, from patient samples right there in the lab. And when they hit these mini tumors with these specific drugs that match their subtype, the results were crystal clear. The targeted cells died. It's an incredible confirmation that this link is real. So this entire journey has really been about going from chaos to clarity. We started with this seemingly impossible problem of heterogeneity, but this new atlas shows us it's not one giant problem. It's 4 distinct problems, and each one has its own targeted solution. And that leaves us with a pretty profound final thought. For decades, the big focus in cancer has been on finding it earlier. But maybe, just maybe, this research shows us something new. Perhaps knowing what a tumor is, its fundamental molecular identity, is just as powerful, maybe even more so, than just knowing that it's there. This new atlas might not just be a map of the brain, but a map to the entire future of how we treat cancer.